And joined in studio now by Dean James. He is the CEO of IMGG Incorporated. IMGG is their stock symbol. Dean, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Don.
Now, you had an eventful week because of you. You had a shareholder conference call earlier in the week, and I'm sure with all of the events that you and I have been talking about on the program, you probably weren't the most popular guy on the call, at least for part of the call, because shareholders wanted their questions answered. They were maybe upset in some respect, disappointed in other respects. So I'm going to give you the floor. How'd the call go?
Well, actually, it went very well. I actually was quite impressed. We didn't have any negative questions that were out there, and most shareholders were just happy to be able to have some direct communication to me or with me. The bashers, all those other people that are out there, the perfect opportunity, they just obviously didn't show up.
Sure.
But, those kinds of things, with all the things that were going on, I wanted to kind of have a direct contact with my shareholder base and allow them, some Q&A time. I did a brief statement at the beginning and then, did about a 45-minute Q&A session, and went well. I went all the way to there were no questions left. So.
Well, you and I had a conversation before coming on the air where you said that some people had written in message boards that you sounded stressed or that you sounded overwhelmed. I mean, were you stressed? Were you overwhelmed?
I am stressed. I am overwhelmed. It has been a very tough road for us. But I think the thing that was missing from the conference call, from maybe even my last MoneyTV appearance, is that I have not lost an ounce of confidence in this product or this company. I am dedicated even more because it's a difficult process that we're in. Being in a position, having, a large outstanding share base that's out there, makes my job tougher. But I'm committed, and this is my lifeblood. This is every ounce of my energy is put into this company. I know my personal reputation's at stake on this. So I am committed to making this a success. I know that my shareholders have had a tough time following us through this course. But
it reminds me of when I talked to a guest company for the very first time on the phone, and we're preparing for a MoneyTV appearance. And I said, well, what do I have to do? And I said, you know what, this is what I want. I want to see what pumps your blood about the company. I want to see the enthusiasm that you have for your company, because if you can transmit that enthusiasm across the TV airways, it is the most contagious emotion, and that's what I look for. And so to hear you say that you haven't lost your dedication, that it pumps your blood, that's the kind of thing that, from my standpoint, makes me feel like, hey, things are on a solid ground here. A couple things I wanted to ask you, though.
Sure.
I mean, while you're going through this process, you've delayed the resubmission of the FDA approval for a few months at least. I think you're talking like at the end of the summer, perhaps, or maybe the early fall. We mentioned that. Are there other opportunities for the Dominion that can be explored? Other industries, the veterinary industry, for example, or maybe going overseas with it where FDA approval is not required. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Sure, and I get asked this a lot, and what I don't think most people understand is it's way more expensive to go out overseas because you have to have a physical presence there. Not only do you send your system out there, you have to have someone maintain it, or train someone to maintain it. And most overseas countries want FDA-approved products.
I see.
You can, countries all over want, bring their products into the United States and get them FDA approved so they can sell them out elsewhere for more money. The veterinarian, market is so small. I mean, it's a huge market, but for what our Dominion costs, there's probably a handful of clinics that could actually, afford it. So do I sell to one? Do I sell to a couple?
I see.
It really is about right now is focusing on the FDA. We are close. We have the plan, we have everything that we need to do to make this happen. And that's really where we need to focus right now. That's the core of it. Our fallback plan is if, for God forbid, it doesn't work out with the FDA, you know, I think the industrial market's probably another market that we can go into. But their software needs and visual needs are different from the medical industry market, so we'd have to kind of retool the software.
Okay.
But
repeat for me again what you said about your focus on the FDA, because I think that's really important. I mean, you've had 4 or 5 successful FDA applications in the past in your career.
Right.
And this one has been, without a doubt, the most difficult one, the most disappointing one you've gone through. But repeat for me again your dedication to that, because I think it's important you say that.
Well, I'm trying to put it in words. You know, again, I see this as the brass ring. This is the one thing that's going to make our product very successful in any market that we go into. Okay, as long as we're FDA approved, we can sell anywhere in the country from that point on. Anywhere outside of the U.S., it's easier because now you have one regulatory body that approves your device. You know, you can mirror that with others in, you know, the European Union and elsewhere. It also adds a higher level of appeal for any other industry that you want to enter into. You know, if we want to get a partner to come in and, you know, like a major OEM to buy a piece of the company, you know, or buy us out, or, you know, even do a marketing deal with us, FDA approval is necessary for us to do it. So I'm committed to getting that done. And it's frustrating because I was just about there when all this mess started happening, and I lost the focus of trying to have to deal with those issues. Those are behind us now. I'm ready to move forward. We're ready to get going. We have the plan. We were ready to move forward on this for summer, as I announced. You know, it's just slightly delayed right now.
Okay.
I think the worst case scenario is the end of this year, but I'm working to try to get it towards the end of summer or fall.
Okay. I mean, it's like I've always told people, if it was this easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Right.
IMGG is their stock symbol, Imaging 3. Dean, I appreciate you coming in here and getting that all straightened out.
Thanks for having me, Don.
Take care.